Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you watch this and watch the replay. So, thank you for joining me. I just wanted to come in with a little bit of 411 of some of the energies right now, as above, so below. My name is Mary June Tracy. I'm spiritual level life coach, an awakening mentor, and wanting to come with the wellness of astrology. And just watching how the energy is it's building. It's just building up. And we're going to start feeling a lot more of the pressure of the frequencies building. And a lot of these frequencies that are building up right now, um, how are they going to display in your body? And that's the whole thing, because there's a lot that's coming out from us, like blockages, align things that aren't working well for us, like relationships, or um, if we were on a project, and just little things that aren't, they're going to start showing up, and they're going to start putting stressors on your body. And this is where you really have to tune in to what the body's saying. So you might be finding that you're just overly stressed, overburdened, um, feeling unwanted, unloved, whatever the scenario is. And here we have these frequencies coming in and saying, "Hey, we want to we want to awaken you more. We want to bring forth more for you um, to work with." But first we got to do some clearing out, and this month is really clearing a lot out and getting us prepared for a lot of the external energies that are going to be coming forward, a lot of the external frequencies that are going to be unfolding over the next several days. And this is where it's so important to come in with this neutral mind. And I know it's, for me, I find it difficult, because when I watch the astrology and I see certain things unfolding, and trying to not be overly aggressive about it, or to be to a point where it's like, you mean you didn't get it the last 4 years, but you're falling into this? This is where it's so important to see how, this spiritual warfare, as I'm going to call it, happening to us. And the spiritual warfare means that we have to tap into our intuition, tap into the knowledge that we have, and tap into a lot of the new knowledge, or the knowledge that maybe we haven't tapped into as of yet. And bringing in that strength and that fortification is very important. Several things that I didn't comment on them. I just sort of scrolled by them, and several things that I did see online, I just sort of, um I kinda shook my head, and I'm not for either side. Just letting people know I'm not for I just it's like when you see truth, when you know truth, it's just like the last 4 years when I was telling people it was a psyops, and that whatever was in the elixir is not good, and you're going to be seeing the effects of what is in the elixir. Now we have Mercury is going into Aries, retrograding, will be retrograding with Venus, and then going back into Pisces. This is going to get a lot of miscommunication out there, a lot of things that are going to be mishaps and fired off. This is where, when we go back into Pisces with Mercury, we have to be so, so careful that we're not falling into the spell. We're not falling into the illusion of what is being portrayed on the screen to be true. This is where we really have to understand that we have such power within us to really take our power back and fill it with this love, fill it with this, um, goodness and love. So much is hidden and being revealed. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's allowing everything to unfold. Years ago, I said, who you thought your enemies were are not, and who you thought your friends were are not. This is where alliances are changing dramatically, not only in your personal life, but you're going to be finding the alliances change on the world because everything's coming at a critical degree, the 29 degree and the 0 degree. This is where things, are massively moving and information coming in at, a at great speed. And we're at the end of a sign, Pisces, and moving into Aries, especially with Neptune and Saturn. And even with Neptune and Saturn moving in, this is still where they're going to retrograde back into Pisces. So a lot of the illusion, a lot of that is not going to be fully transparent as what we would like it to be. But then again, a lot that's coming out, people can't handle it. They're still jumping onto a bandwagon of, well, they're going to save us. This is going to save us. This is the betterment for humankind. And it's like, oh my God, the frequency of so much. And I mean, last night was the Oscars, which I think is just like the idolization of a golden idol. It's very interesting when you get into the psychology of it and what it all represents, right? And the propaganda and everything that goes along with the Oscars and how people can fall into it because they fall into the glitz and the glam and the beauty and the fame and the money and thinking that's all going to be satisfying. But then we know that Hollywood and what it's built upon, right? It's not built upon, positivity and enlightenment. It's built on a lot of other things that is not very nice. That's why we go back to the spiritual warfare, where you will be attacked in some way for standing in your power and standing in your views and standing in what you know is the truth. I'm not going to wave any particular flag. I really am not. I'm not going to stand behind any particular leader. I all have some good things and some bad things. Some have some really bad things. I find it quite hilarious that three world leaders were in drama and theater and on stage, like, and they're leading countries. Like, I just find like, okay, that's really interesting. And you know and that we're putting total faith in these actors, right? And how hypocritical of us, the hypocrite, or the going to the derivative of that word means actor, right? The deceiver is the actor is the deceiver because he's getting you to believe in what they are trying to portray to you. They are the hypocrite. And this is where critical thinking has to come forth. This is, with the power of prayer and meditation and coming into that divineness, that light is for many of us a struggle because it's like we want to go across the street and sort of shake the other person's, like, don't you see what's going on? That's the way I felt the last few years, is like, don't you see what's going on? Are you really doing that? Are you really standing in line for that? Are you serious? Are you sticking that up your nose? And it's like, okay, what was done. Can't change it. All we can do is learn from it and move forward. And as we move forward, hopefully we don't fall into something crazy again. But yet, with the astrology that is coming in, yeah, we're coming into great reform. We're coming into great change that is inevitable. And it is where things are very fated, and the fated things have to happen because in order for them to happen brings in something that is absolutely fabulous. But we're not going to be really seeing all of that. We're in the mess of shit. We're in the shit of the shit, right? And we are having to spread that shit to make it fertilizer and make sure that goodness can be planted out of this. But it is us going through it all. That Saturn squared the sun this weekend was pretty harsh, and there's a lot of crap that came up with it because Jupiter or Saturn squared Jupiter. I mean, you know, it's like wanting to reveal things to you, wanting to show you things. You know, that's what Jupiter and Gemini want. But it was like there's just so much um coming forth. And then the sun in, wants to bring in enlightenment, wants us to show things, but it's kind of like gets washed over, and it doesn't get the fullness of what needs to come in. And as Venus is retrograding, as Venus is going into the transformation from evening to morning star, right? So we're going through this transformation of change, and there's a lot of healing that needs to be happening for us. And March is one of the heaviest months of this year. It is going to be a month of like, holy fuck kind of things, like a lot of holy fucks. Like, holy fuck, are you serious? Holy fuck, no way. So it's going to be that kind of month. And as we have the build up to March 17th, because March 17th is one of my big days that I say something, crazy is going to happen on that day, or something is going to reveal itself even more. Plus, we have the eclipses, which are going to be eclipsing a lot, that we are not going to be seeing a lot of the information that's going to be fully portrayed and not going to be coming out until probably near the end of the year, which is another crazy time that's going to happen. It's going to feel like as we get through this and as we go into, say, the last half of April and into spring and summer, it's going to feel like, oh, okay, things are going to feel like, oh, I can breathe and kind of seem to get things in order. And then by the middle of August, things just get totally radical again. And things just get totally where we feel it's out of control. This is a year of out of control. This is a year of radicalism. This is a year that's setting us up to really take a look at how we want to live life and how we want to live with the people around us. I saw a post and it said, many spiritualists have said that they've, that there are no borders. And I've never seen that there's no borders. I just seen borders change. Um, Seeing no borders, I find there's also where, oh man, we're going back to the 60s and about identification and people identifying themselves and the psychology of it all. To have no borders is losing people's identity. And that's a huge one for people, to lose your identity, to be considered into this oneness. And that means that your belief system and your values are considered a oneness with everybody else. And I don't know, that just in a spiritual way, in a kumbaya way, it feels kind of cool. But then my Scorpio comes in and I go even deeper and I'm going, oh, that's just where more shit can come in. More deceit and more taking advantage of people can come in, because the ego is always there. The ego cannot be taken out of this world. The ego is one that we've come in here to learn things, to do things. It's understanding how our ego works. And it's where on this earth walk, we've learned to really put and work with our soul and work with our intuition and our alignment with the divine, and trusting in that alignment. That's what we've, that's one of the sole purposes in coming into this world. But to come in and say no ego, it's gone. What is that? That means that there's no more identification. There's no more you, there's no more me. That means there's no more mother or father or children, or it's just it gets into a really deep psychological factor there. And this is where people are redefining that all, right? All we can do is trust that what is supposed to be will be exactly, and it will. It will be. It is knowing that there is this higher power creating something better for us. But, and as I say, but remember, we are human. Remember, we all have this ego. And there is this battle, and I can see this battle going on that is trying to bring in the deception and the diversion and the division and the discouragement of us all. That's trying to bring that forth to us all in many different layers. And if there was someone who was very deceptive and just looking at his energy and his chart, so much deceit, and he's such a prop man. There's a couple props that have been put up in this world, and three of them are actors. Have been put up as props to do that. Another one is has been put up into place as just a prop person is the Pope. And just seeing things with him and stuff, that was just another one that was just put up just to appease the public almost, kind of thing. So get a lot of Catholics pissed at me for that one. But it is us really coming into a place where we are able to have discernment, to be able to really try and have that um, place where we can see things a little bit more clearly and come with a neutral mind. On a different topic, my daughter just came back from LA and she brought me back a Universal mug. I just thought it's funny. It's Universal Studio, but she brought me a Universal mug from Hollywood. So it's quite cool. It's quite cool. It's a very heavy mug. It's the same size as some of my other mugs that I have for my coffee. And it's sparkly. There's little sparkles on it and stuff. So, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. She got me that. Um, well, you can't remove the ego. The ego is what you need to learn. Why can't you remove the ego? Because you wouldn't be able to drive a car. You wouldn't be able to boil an egg. An ego is a learned behavior. And it's understanding it's a learned behavior. So, in order, when they say to understand the ego, is to understand, what have I learned, right? What have I learned? What behavior have I learned that is causing me the pain and the suffering? So there's guilt, there's shame, blame, and everything. So there is something I learned in my upbringing or in society or through religion, that I have learned that this is bad, right? So one of the premises, which I find, which is really interesting, that is still people get today, is when a young girl gets abused, and the first question, and maybe not so much anymore, but it is a question that comes up: what was she wearing? Does that matter what she was wearing? But to many, that's a perceived, that is a learned behavior. That's something that we have learned. If I said the word witch, an automatic perception of what that is, right? It's a learned behavior, right? We've learned through movies, through people talking about it and books and everything else and novels, of what that is. That's what the ego is. So to get rid of the ego, that means that we get rid of how we are learning, how we are perceiving things. The ego's not bad. That's the thing. The ego's not bad. It's like karma. Karma's not bad. It's our perception in how we are taking that in, right? So if we're taking that in a negative way, then we're perceiving it as negative. It's like it's part of my 21 day meditation that I'm doing with people. But I talk about the farmer, the Taoist farmers. It's neither good nor bad, right? His horse runs away and he brings back, six or seven more horses. First everybody's like, oh, that's horrible. And then the brings back, horses. And in every situation, he says that's neither good nor bad. It just is. Right. And coming to that point in that stillness within ourselves and seeing it, that it's neither good nor bad. It just is. Yeah. We could feel still joy. We could still feel love. We could still feel the pain and the suffering, because that's all part of the journey. That's all part of this world. Right. But you can't remove it. You don't remove it till we transition. And that transition is a whole nother journey, and embracing a whole nother journey. So that's why they say there's life everlasting, and embracing that life everlasting. But that's all part of it. And right now we are on a journey of newness, of rediscovering, of understanding um humans. This is with Pluto and Aquarius, it's a rediscovering on what humans are, what our connections are to one another. What does it mean to be human? And are all humans humans? Right? So we are coming into a new age, a new understanding, a new way of looking at the world and the outside world, right? And the multifacets of the universe and the dimensions of the universe, and how they all function and how we are all integrated within that oneness. And it is fascinating. And we have different puppets down here, different players that are playing the game. And some of them are here to aggravate us, to piss us off. Some of them are here to elate us and to engage in us and to help us to grow. And others are just here. That's all they are. They're just here. They're just they're just mowing the lawn. They're just getting on with things, you know. But that's all part of looking at how we are doing our earth walk, and how people come into our lives and go out of our lives. Um, I'm a projector when it comes to human design. So a projector is a person that will have, usually, a lot of people come into my life, a lot of people leave. Some people will come back into my life for a little bit and then leave a bit. Some people have stayed for a long time. God bless them, and being a part of my life for quite some time, and are still here. But many, within my platform have come and gone, which is fine. It's all part of what I am to be doing. And it's so important to embrace that, right? And how we are embracing that within our own lives. And the astrology is showing so much of that, right? And is showing how we can do that. So that's an important piece in this. And you know I believe in many different I believe in one God. I believe that there's one God with many, and that's how my mother always explained it. There's one God, but there's a lot of other fluffy clouds. And it's how you are connecting with those other fluffy clouds to get to the big cloud. Loved that. Um, and we can connect with the other clouds in some little way in order for us to get to that big cloud, to get to that bigness, that big one. But sometimes we're stuck on one little cloud for a while, and that's fine. That's where we are. That's what's happening. That's part of our journey and what we signed up for in this lifetime, and what that looks like. That's why I love astrology, because it shows, a lot of integral parts that of things that we've signed up to, or how our walk is. Some people's charts, and I look at them just like, okay, you're just here. There's not a hell of a lot happening in your chart. You're just here. You're here to be the observer. You're here to be up here and just watch and just be the observer, and not really um be the person who is, really making that big splash or doing something crazy and significant. You're there to, maybe give advice here and there, and that's it. Other people's charts, and I look at them and I'm just like, what the fuck? Holy shit, you come in here with a lot. You come in here with a lot of entanglement. There's a lot of family drama. And you've come in here to heal that, which is, several people's charts that I've looked. Um, I think now I have over 500 different charts that I have looked at, you know, and possibly more, because what I belong to, I have to upgrade it every so often because I've run to the max of how much they will hold for the charts that I have on there, and it's it is interesting how, how you see when I look at the predictive world and I look at the world view and how the astrology is affecting the world, and you're seeing the drama. I found it so interesting that every EU leader tweeted out the exact same remark about the little puppet boy, and I was just like, wow, exact wording, exact wording. I thought, like, that's just interesting. Did anybody else catch that? Am I the only one who notices this shit? I just found that so interesting. Or just seeing how, people got so upset over somebody who's not even in charge of your country. Just you're so mad at them. How dare he? He's just horrible. And why? Like, why? You didn't vote for him. He's not in charge of your country. You might have some influences, but then look who's in charge of our country. Like, are you not pissed off at him? Like, I find more on somebody from the south of the border than I find of the north of the border, right? Are they all programmed to say the same thing and support the puppet? Yes, absolutely. They are. They are. Because their wealth is of this world. Their wealth is of this world. Their wealth is nothing more than this world. Nothing more. And if your wealth is only of this world, that's all you'll see. There's nothing wrong with somebody wanting to make a better life for themselves. There's nothing wrong with somebody trying to create a better world for themselves and their children, etc. But when they put that before anything else, and they don't put God first, they don't put the divine first, this is what you see. You see immorality. You see people's values dropping. You start to see where things start going crazy, and the dismantlement of the world around you. When you think of how much billions of dollars, and it's only numbers on a screen, right, have been transferred over to one person who has a $38 billion or $1 million home in Miami and several other $12 million homes throughout the United States. Interesting. And who's getting close to, what is it? I don't know, it's just under a billion or close to $1 billion income every month. It's like, what? Our propaganda is just the machine is so deep. It's so deep. But, many people, they're wanting something deeply to believe in, right? They're wanting to believe in something so deeply and feel and find, and they want a bad guy. They really want a bad guy. I think, in the long and short, none of them are good guys, really. Um, and they're all out for some kind of gain in the end. But as the story goes, you can't take it with you. And some people are going to try and take it with you. And, Mel Gibson, even I was listening to him when he lost his home. And, he says, yeah, it's upsetting. Of course. I mean, it's an emotional part and it's upsetting. But he said, God gives you and God takes it away. It's material possessions at the end of the day. And that's, and looking at it, is that okay? Now, where is he leading me? What else is going to unfold for me? and trusting in that. And that's, for many of us, that's very difficult. It's taking that extra step and putting that trust. It's like what happened in the last 4 years. Many people could not take that extra step of saying, I'm gonna trust that if I say no, this is what's going I'm gonna trust that I'm gonna be okay, right? And I'm gonna trust that things are going to be okay for me, and I'm going to be okay. And I've lived my life, and, if Cynthia's still here, she can contest to that. That's how I've lived my life, and for many, it's very frustrating. It gets people very frustrated in doing that because I have to do that's just part of who I am. I just have to trust. I have to know that there is going to be um, so much, so much change that right now I'm not sure where I am being led and where I am going to be, but I know there's something to do, and the word mission keeps coming up, and I don't know exactly what that is and what that looks like, but I got to trust in it. I got to trust that there is something far greater coming forth, and I just added the I just added the little thing. It's like, okay, if that's what you want me to do, remember, I still have to eat, and I still have to pay my rent, and I still have to do a lot of other things in this muggle world. So I have to really do things very logically as well. So that's all part of it as well. There is a logical part that comes in. So, which is the ego as well. So, thank you for your question. That is so awesome. I love that question. Of course, and when you ask me a question, you just never know the answer. So, let's pull out some cards, baby. Let's see if there's any other questions. No. Okay. So I'm hoping everybody's doing really well on the 21 day who registered for that. It's a 21-day divine will and discovering what the divine will is. And next week, we are going to be bringing in some other aspects next week for on this journey. It is a journey where I send out the recordings. So you get the recordings for 7 days, and then we meet on the Sunday and we discuss everything that's gone on for you during that week. There's journal prompts that I do and work on. So there we go. Okay, let's pull this up. Five of Fire. Ooh, competing goals. So what are the goals in your life that you're competing with? What are the things, what are the conflicts that you have with others? So you might be saying this is what I want to do, but there's something on the outside that's saying no, you got to do it this way. So there's conflict that's going on all around you. And it's not necessarily that you're coming into face to face in a like a fight. It's like there's this and there's this and there's this, and it just feels like there's so much happening where you have to take a step back because the page of water comes in. So the page of water is like this loving newness that wants to come in and bring forth something new for you and bring in a psychic abilities, trusting in the newness. So there's a lot of new abilities that are downloading for people that are coming in, but there's a conflict with it. There's a conflict with these because it's like, well, this doesn't fit in with my agenda, or this doesn't feel right for me. This doesn't look right for me. And people get very frustrated with that because they want it they want this newness to look a certain way. They want it to, well, this is the way I want it to look. It had to look like this little shiny object, and it's not. It's something that could be grubby, or it could look just like a boulder, and it just needs to be shined up, or it needs to be worked with in order for you to find the essence of what it is. What it is. It's like a geode. When you get a geode, you don't know the truth of what it is until you crack it open. You see the beauty that's inside it, right? And here we go with this release of what we need to release. So this is where it's, what are we needing to release at this time, right? What is that release? What is that we have to let go of with that conflict in order for us to allow that newness to come in? And that's where, again, the ego could come in, because that's not what I've learned, or the ego wants to protect us so that we can, um so we won't die. So it's afraid we're gonna die if we do that, until we try it, and he says, "Oh, you're not gonna die, you're gonna be okay." You know? So this is where it's like a new newness is coming in, a new person, and new, um, psychic abilities or phases are coming in, but we will fight them because they're new and they're unknown, until we understand the undercurrent of it, and we learn about it. Then to release all that we know. Come with the beginner's mind, come with the newness. And if we come with the beginner's mind, then we're able to really see things with a clearness of it all. There you go. Have a blessed day, everybody. May the Lord and Lady watch over and bless you. As you can hear, my phone started to blow up, so I better go answer some text to see what's going on. Talk to you guys later. Have a blessed one. Bye bye. See ya.